Welcome to the League of Nerds comic book segment number 104. I'm John Cooney here to talk to you about comics released the 22nd of January 2014, beginning as usual with my first 5, meaning these are the first 5 books I intend to read this week, and I'll give you a little more depth on them, starting with at number 1, All New X-Men number 22 Point Now. The trial of Jean Grey, the arrival of the original X-Men in the present sent shockwaves through the Marvel Universe, but we've only seen the effects on Earth. When alien races learn that Jean Grey, host of the destructive Phoenix Force, is back on Earth, they do something about it. Now it's up to the rest of the all-new X-Men and the Guardians of the Galaxy to save Jean Grey from twisted intergalactic justice. Don't miss 2 of Marvel's biggest franchises crossing over for the first time. Series writer Brian Michael Bendis spoke about the interaction of the 2 teams. Quote, "Well, let's remember that the all-new X-Men are still some of the youngest, most naive heroes in the entire Marvel Universe. They still have only been X-Men for a few weeks, so everything is a new experience, especially finding out that one of you was the host of a destructive force that took out entire planets, or that there are spaceships, or that raccoons have rockets and laser guns. There's a great deal of fun to be had, and a great deal of serious, life-changing drama. And not all of the Guardians are going to have the same feeling about Jean Grey and the Phoenix. She is and will always be a very polarizing figure in the Marvel Universe. This trial will put the spotlight right on that." Close quote. He went on to give another reminder, quote, "For those of you who know they're X-Men, some of you may already be thinking about the fact that one of the original X-Men's fathers already has a very important place in the Marvel Galaxy. The X-Men may be shocked to find themselves dealing with space for the very first time, but some of them may be surprised at how personal the story will get." Close quote. At number 2, we've got Walking Dead number 120, All Out War Part 6. This war has taken a toll. Series writer Robert Kirkman responded to comparisons of All Out War villain Negan and the Governor.
Let's talk about All Out War, possibly the biggest storyline in Walking Dead history. But I want to start with Negan versus the Governor, because there's been a lot of people out there that said Negan's just a more extreme governor. He's just a different governor or something like that. Talk about the differences from your point of view, who Negan is compared to the Governor, because in my mind, he's not just more extreme, he's smarter, he's even a bigger psychopath, but there is a vulnerability to him. Like his love for his Lucille is just bizarre and stuff.
He's a crazy person.
He really is.
I don't know. I think the Governor to me was more of a villain. Negan is more relatable to me. I feel like Negan is a character that, like, to a certain extent, you can kind of get behind him. You know, you're like, oh, that guy's saying things that make sense. I guess that guy seems very reasonable, and then the next thing you know, he's beating someone to death. So it's kind of like. I don't know. He's a very weird character. I like getting. I like that in this storyline we're like getting into him a little bit more, and we'll learn more about him. But he's not necessarily like this really evil guy, and he's not driven by ego as much as the Governor was. So there's some really fundamental differences here, and I think he's vastly more dangerous than the Governor, which people will see. I think the comparisons are. I don't know, it's funny because I feel like it's like there's another antagonist in The Walking Dead. There's a human being who is bad, you know?
Right.
It's like other things have like bad guy of the week or whatever, but because The Walking Dead goes so long without having that central human threat, it is easy to compare the two, but I feel like they're vastly different.
At number 3, we've got All New X-Factor number 2, Not Brand X Part 2. X-Factor is back like never before. Serval Industries, one of the world's most trusted names in electronics and leader in cutting-edge internet and weapons technology, has just unveiled their newest contribution to society, the all-new X-Factor. Led by mutant mistress of magnetism Polaris, the team uses its corporate backing for the betterment of society. With her half-brother Quicksilver, notorious thief Gambit, and more by her side, can Polaris trust that her corporate masters really have good intentions? Series writer Peter David explained the corporate aspects of the all-new X-Factor. Quote, "The development of the corporate point of view really came from my looking around at the world that we live in, which has become so corporate heavy. I mean, mom and pop stores are being replaced by 7-Elevens, coffee shops are all Starbucks. If you go driving across the country, you'll see the same stores over and over and over again. And I thought it would be interesting to have a corporation develop in the Marvel Universe that basically says, this whole superhero thing, we should get in on that. And that's really where Serval Industries and X-Factor came from." Close quote. At number 4, we've got Batman number 27. 0 Year reaches an all-important crossroads as Batman and Jim Gordon try to turn the lights back on in Gotham City. This issue leads directly into the final arc of 0 Year, which begins here next month. Series writer Scott Snyder shared his thoughts on Gotham's role. Quote, I've always had this idea, and I hope it shows. It definitely shows later on in Zero Year, in the 3rd section, that Gotham is like this living, breathing beast in a lot of ways. It has this crazy stone eye that it looks at people with, and that's one of the big images that repeats throughout this story. These dark or almost molten circles, circles of blood, circles of flame, circles of bone, and that sense of being watched by the city that's staring at you with an unblinking eye and saying, what do you got? What are you going to do? How are you going to fight me off? Do you have it or do you not? In a way, it stares into you and sees your big fears and challenges you with them. That sense of Bruce coming back and wanting to be larger than life before he becomes Batman, the city's going to challenge him with criminals that are already there too. There's a sense to me of the city paralleling him, mirroring him as he goes, challenging him at every turn in almost the supernatural way that's never really legitimately or openly supernatural. It's this kind of odd coincidence, this creepy sense that as he grows, it grows with him to challenge him. It doesn't need him to become Batman to respond to him. It's simultaneous, and it can provoke him with challenges as well that way and say, are you willing to take the next step? Are you willing to become this crazy thing, this Batman, to fight them? Close quote. And at number 5, we've got Justice League number 27, a Forever Evil tie-in. With the Justice League still missing, a barely functional Cyborg will need help if he's going to take down the crime syndicate. To do that, he must find Dr. Will Magnus. Series writer Jeff Johns told his thoughts about the book, quote, one of the big things for me is going to be, it's always been, team dynamics. When I worked on JSA, all the varying personalities were great. You had different generations that had friction, that had different ideas, but you still had a great superhero team. And the same with Green Lanterns, really, because Green Lantern turned into a team book with a lot of those other Lanterns. But we've been talking about how we can make this different. I love the Big Seven, but I also wanted to really shake it up, and what's the next evolution of the Justice League that we can have a lot of fun with, and where characters will challenge what the Justice League means, and why it exists. The biggest character that could possibly do that, when we were talking about this like 2 years ago, who's the biggest character that could challenge what the Justice League means if we put him on the team, and who has the weight so people will listen? And the only one was Lex Luthor. Out of every character in the DC universe, the only character that had the weight and the power and the voice and the status, and also the ability to challenge the team to redefine who they are and what they were doing this for, was this guy, Lex Luthor. Close quote. Rounding out the top 10 at number 6, we've got Wolverine and the X-Men number 40. Battle of the Atom is over, but the battle for the future of mankind has just begun. For months, S.H.I.E.L.D. has had designs on the Jean Grey School. Now they make their presence known. All this and Cyclops vs. Wolverine as Jason Aaron and Pepe Larraz bring you the action. At number 7, we've got Hawkeye number 16. The adventures of Lady Hawkeye out west continue as Kate helps a reclusive and 60s damaged pop music genius find his lost masterpiece. Madame Mask, meanwhile, finds her, by which we mean starts trying to kill her again. Also, the cat needs cat food and there's none to be found. What's that about? Hey, not for nothing, but you guys gotta try these cronuts. At number 8, we've got X-Men number 9, Muertes Part 3. Lady Deathstrike's new sisterhood sets their sights on the X-Men, and Psylocke is in the crosshairs. A foe awakens, and neither team might be able to handle her. At number 9, we've got Black Widow number 2. In fact, it's so good that you won't want to wait another month for the next issue, and you won't have to. And at number 10, we've got Cataclysm Ultimate X-Men number 3 of 3. The future of the X-Men and all mutant kind rests on Rogue's shoulders. To return home, a sacrifice must be made. Will there be a world for them to come back to? For the best of the rest from DC Comics, we've got Batman and Two-Face number 27. The origin of Two-Face continues. Batman finds himself in the crossfire of a vengeful war between Two-Face and Aaron McKillen. Both are hell-bent on killing each other and anyone else who dares to step between them. Next, we have Birds of Prey number 27, a Gothtopia tie-in. We reach a major turning point in the series as the birds find a new benefactor and a new mission to take down one of the ancient evils in the DC universe, Ra's al Ghul. We've also got Harley Quinn number 2. Harley and guest star Poison Ivy set out to rescue a bunch of cute puppies and kitties. What could possibly go wrong? Next, we have Red Hood and the Outlaws number 27. The Outlaws have their final bloody showdown with Ra's al Ghul and the League of Assassins. And we've got Trinity of Sin Pandora number 7, a Forever Evil tie-in, a major turning point for Pandora, who reluctantly joins forces with John Constantine's team of mystical underdogs to confront the personification of all evil, Blight, continued in this month's Justice League Dark number 27. From Marvel Comics, we've got All New Invaders #1, Gods and Soldiers Part 1. Eisner Award winner James Robinson returns to Marvel, uniting with Steve Pugh to create a unique, modern-day take on the Invaders. The Kree Empire intends to conquer the universe using a weapon that will grant them an army of Norse gods. It falls to 4 heroes united by their past: Captain America, Namor, the original Human Torch, and the Winter Soldier, who must now face the future and wage war against the Kree to save Earth. Next, we have Avengers 25, The Mirror. It worked for the X-Men. Would it be so crass to do it again? Introducing the all-new Avengers. And we've been good up till now, but this issue, an Avenger dies. We've also got Avengers World #2, AIM Empire has begun. Smasher, Sunspot, and Cannonball trapped in prisoners of the Scientist Supreme. Next, we have Indestructible Hulk #18, Inhumanity tie-in, The Humanity Bomb, Chapter 2. Which one of Banner's lab assistants has fallen to the Terrigen Myths, and how has it changed them? Hulk versus Iron Man and the X-Men's Beast for the fate of the world. We've also got Iron Man #20, Inhumanity tie-in, Iron Metropolitan Part 3, Classified. Next, we have Marvel Knights X-Men #3 of 5, The Haunting and the Hunted. As the past comes raging back to take down the X-Men, 2 new mutants struggle with their newfound powers. Infighting threatens to pit X-Man versus X-Man in battle to the death. Next, we have Mighty Avengers #5, Inhumanity tie-in. It's the leadership challenge you've been waiting for. Luke versus the superior Spider-Man, with the She-Hulk arbitrating, as in arbitrating a robot's head off. Extreme physical discourtesy the way you crave it, true believer. Meanwhile, there's something very rotten in the fallen city of Attilan, and it's shambling towards the Mighty Avengers. Plus, who are the Deathwalkers? Does Ronan know? Wait, hang on, he's dead? We've also got Origin 2 #2. Without his family, Logan struggles to continue on. Meanwhile, word of a clawed wild man in the woods has reached civilization, and the hunt to capture him first begins. And enter Creed. And we've got Superior Spider-Man Team-Up #9, Goblin Nation Prelude. As the Green Goblin continues to gobble up the New York underworld, Superior Spider-Man gets a little help from his friends, Daredevil and the Punisher, plus Cloak and Dagger and Mr. Negative. From Dark Horse Comics, we've got the Massive #19. An improvised explosive device rips through the capital while at port in the Baltic Sea, and the group claiming responsibility is no group at all, it's an individual. Arcady, the demon from Cal's past in Motogishu. When Cal goes to confront his nemesis, he discovers that Arcady holds the piece of the puzzle that could change everything. And from Valiant Entertainment, we've got Exo Manowar #21, Exo Manowar Prisoner of War. Stripped of the Exo Manowar armor, Eric of Dacia has been imprisoned and interrogated at an off-the-grid black site. But what knowledge could the government of the world want from a man who has journeyed 1600 years to the present? A man who liberated an alien planet? A man who once wielded the most powerful weapon in existence? What knowledge could they want, you ask? All of it. And the agents of Unity will extract every one of Eric of Dacia's secrets by any means necessary. Out in trades this week, we've got Animal Man Volume 5, The Meaning of Flesh trade paperback. In these tales from Animal Man #27 to 37, Buddy Baker is desperate to reconnect with his family, but after he begins to explore the effects of his powers to replicate the abilities of animals, will this former superhero ever be able to live a normal life? And we've got X Factor by Peter David, the Complete Collection Volume 1 trade paperback. Relive the gripping noir-esque launch of Peter David's most memorable concept, X Factor Investigations. Jamie Madrox sets up shop in the heart of Mutant Town, but with so many duplicates out in the world, who is the real Madrox? Does he even know anymore? Then, when the fallout from the House of M depowers most of the world's mutants, X Factor must find answers, fast. With Guido, Wolfsbane, Siren, M, and Richter by his side, as well as the stuff-knowing Layla Miller, Madrox must take on the manipulative prescient Mr. Tripp's rival group Singularity Investigations, navigate a superhuman civil war, learn why the X-Men lied to his team, deal with the unbalanced Quicksilver's new ability to reboot mutant powers for a price, and discover the deadly traitor in X Factor's midst, collecting Madrox 1 through 5 and X Factor number 1 through 12. Okay, so that's just a few of my favorite books out this week. There's still plenty of others available, and I broke out all the Marvel titles this week in their own video, as well as a separate video for all of DC, and even a video with the top independent publishers, and you can find them all on my YouTube channel at he'sgotissues.com. And we'll also have links up on the leagueofnerds.com, our Facebook page, so be sure to like us there too. And of course, you can follow everything I'm reading on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, or Twitter. You can find links to everything in the About section at he'sgotissues.com. And a reminder that both He's Got Issues and the League of Nerds are proud members of the Comics Podcast Network. So until next week, I'm John Cooney, and I've got issues.